All right, I'm back with another monthly market update, and I'll take you through what happened in November in Calgary. So let's get right into it. And in line with typical seasonal trends, we are noticing a slowdown. This happens every year. November, December, January, I would say the three slowest months of the year in terms of Calgary real estate. This year is no different. This happens every single year, so it's not too alarming. Now, what is alarming is the amount of inventory on the market. About 5,500 units in inventory, which is about 28% higher than last year and 15% higher than typical levels reported in November. So the market is definitely moving out of the hardcore sellers market. We are into a balanced market overall, but there are some pockets that are in buyer's market territory, which I'll cover as we get into this. And first things first, let's talk about the supply and what's happening in this area. So essentially what happened, Calgary was in a red hot seller's market for a few years. And when that happens, builders take note of this and they want to get involved. And they start building projects all throughout Calgary. So we've got brand new neighborhoods. We've got new homes all throughout Calgary. There's lots of purpose-built rentals too. And these projects take a long time to complete, sometimes many years. And what's happening is many of these projects are coming online now at a time when the market has adjusted. There's less people coming to Calgary, there's less migration, and the market has adjusted at a time when there's lots of inventory coming onto the market. This is resulting in the balanced market conditions, and this is actually forcing some parts of the city and some sectors into buyer's market territory. So basically, there's just too many homes for sale than there are buyers for those properties. Now, this excess supply is more noticeable in the condo and the townhouse market. There are all sorts of builds, new builds all across Calgary. There's entire neighborhoods that are all townhouses. You've got lots of purpose-built rentals, especially in the inner city. And this is resulting in the condo and the townhouse sector to be kind of flooded with inventory right now. So you're definitely in buyer's market territory in those two sectors. But I would say if you're looking at single family homes and duplexes, that market is a bit more balanced. And you can see here, sales are down 13.4% over last year. Still 1,553 sales is actually pretty good still. So it's not terrible, but it is less than last year, obviously. New listings are down 3.3%, but the inventory is way up to 5,581 units. That is up 28.2% over last year. Now, if we look at the months of supply, up 48% year over year to 3.59 months. This is the stat where if no one could list a property for sale, it would take 3.59 months to sell the remaining inventory. Now, this 3.59 is the entire market, so single family, duplexes, condos, townhouses. Overall, this is a balanced market, but you'll find in some sectors and some neighborhoods, this number is higher than 6 months. So it just depends what product you're looking at and which neighborhood too. And with less sales and more inventory, you can see it reflect in the housing prices. So overall, total residential price is down 4.6% over last year to $559. This is the average of all of the different product types. Single family is down 2.1% to $733. The semi-detached is down 0.5% to $671. Row houses down 6.2% to $424, and apartments are down a whopping 7.2% to $309,300. And I'll give you a regional snapshot and let you know what's happening across Calgary. Now, keep in mind with this page, these numbers are averages across all product types. So you have to keep that in mind. So let's take a look here at the city center is down 5.2% year over year to $560. Now, again, this is kind of deceiving because if you're looking at a single family home in the city center, it's actually fairly flat. And I'd say it's a pretty good market still, but there's a ton of condos and townhouses in the city center, and that's dragging down the average. So again, it's a bit deceiving. The west side is down 2.9% to $693,900. Northwest Calgary, $611,800, down 3.1%. And the north, the northeast, and the east, you can really see some large price adjustments in these areas. So for North Calgary, down 6.8% to $519. Northeast Calgary, down 7.2%. Now, this is across all product types again, but you'll find everything, single family, condos, townhouses are all dropping in the northeast. And East Calgary is down 6.3% to $413. And someone asked me why the Northeast is declining so much. There's a ton of new neighborhoods in the east, on the east side and in Northeast Calgary. And these new builds are coming online and they are direct competition to the resale properties. So that's one major reason why Northeast Calgary is dropping. Another reason, I just think the Northeast, it got too expensive too fast during the crazy COVID years, and it really should be the more affordable part of Calgary. And I just think the numbers, they got too high for this area of Calgary, in my opinion. And lastly, South Calgary down 4.2% to 555, and Southeast down 4.3% to 551. And I like this chart. I think it's easier to kind of visualize what's happening. So this column is November of last year, and this column is November 2025. So sales, you can see, are down from 1793 to 1553. That's down minus 13.39%. New listings kind of flat. Inventory is up, though, from 4,355 to 5,581 active units on the market, up 28%. Months of supply went from 2.43 to 3.59. That's up 47%. If we look at the sales to new listings ratio, went from 77% to 68.99. So you can definitely tell the market is shifting more towards balance. Sales to list price ratio. This is the figure, what your list price is and what you can expect as the sales price. Last year was 98.52% of list price. Now it is 97.36%. Days in the market's gone up from 37 days to 49. So it's taking longer to sell your property. Obviously, that's up 34%. And you can look at prices are definitely down across the board. So benchmark price 586 to 559, median 573 to 560, and the average 615, kind of flat to 615,986. The real estate board says the best figure here is actually the benchmark price, which has gone from 586 to 559. And the months of supply and price change graph. So the blue bars is the months of supply. So you can definitely see from COVID, basically our inventory just dropped all the way until last year. And now it's ticking back up. And the red line is the year-over-year benchmark price change. You can see during COVID, it spiked, a bit of a dip, then it spiked again. And now they're coming back down. So with more inventory, buyers have choices. The prices should come down. And looking at this chart, it might seem alarming. Oh my God, the inventory is going up and the prices are coming down. But if you look at the actual inventory compared to how it was in like 2015 to 2020, there was way more inventory back then. And life still went on. You could still sell properties. You could buy and sell. So sure, the trend is changing towards more balance, but it's still a decent market in Calgary. Now for this next page, I'm not going to cover everything, but I do want to highlight the apartment sector. Just because it's performing not the best right now. So this column was from November 2024, and this is November 2025. So last year there were 429 sales. This year 307, down about 30%. New listings, they're actually down, new listings, but the inventory is up from 1,479 units to 1,690. That is up 14.27%. Months of supply, big jump from 3.45 to 5.5. Up about 60%. Sales to list price ratio went from 97.52 to 96.61. And the days in the market from 45 to 59, up 31%. And if you look at the benchmark price, down 7.17%, and the median is down 8%. So the reason I want to target this apartment sector, I'm getting lots of people who are thinking of selling their condos, but they're waiting for the spring market. Now, if this was me, I would list it right away and be done with it, because odds are in the spring, if you're a condo seller, you're going to have more inventory to compete against. And that means you need to be sharper on your price. And the prices are coming down. So there's a good chance that your price will be less in the spring than it is right now. So if you are an apartment seller, I would bite the bullets and just get it on the market and try to get it sold as fast as possible, because the market in that sector is performing quite poorly. And I can see that continuing into the near future, and I can see falling prices for the condo sector. And the last page here, this is a good page to kind of highlight how each part of Calgary performs differently and how each product performs differently as well. So you have detached here, apartments, semi-detached, and townhouses. And you can see here city center, northeast, northwest, and so on. And you can really break it down by the product type and the area to see how the market's performing. And you can see some areas are actually doing quite well, like detached homes in Northwest Calgary. It's only down 0.89%, whereas Northeast Calgary is down minus 4.86%. If we look at the apartment sector, Northeast Calgary condos are down minus 12.41%. So a huge drop. And if we look at Say the semi-detached in the city center, flat 0.24% drop. So not too bad at all. And then if we look at, say, townhouses in the east part of Calgary, down 8%. But in the west side of Calgary, they're only down minus 2.93%. So again, it depends on your product type and what part of Calgary that you're in. All right, that's my take on the Calgary real estate stats. Now, if you're a buyer watching this, I think this is mostly good news for you. There's a lot more inventory coming to the market. The market, it definitely favors you in some sectors. There's less competing offers. The rates are actually quite low right now. I wouldn't be waiting for further rate drops. Most of the banking professionals and mortgage brokers that I'm talking to think the rates are going to stay where they're at. They might drop like a little bit more, but that's still uncertain. So the rates are probably going to stay where they're at, and you've got lots of inventory. So I think it's a good time to be a buyer in Calgary. Going into the future, I think there's going to be lots of sales and lots of buyers, but I do think it's going to be a balanced market. That's just my prediction. Now, if you're a seller, the market for detached homes is still quite strong. Same thing for semi-detached properties. If you have a good property in a good neighborhood and you price it well, you can definitely sell. But don't expect like lots of competing offers and price wars. I don't think that's going to happen. But I do think it's going to be a fairly good market for a seller for those product types. I think for condos and townhouses, especially in the newer areas of Calgary, you have lots of competition. So price is very important. So for sellers, I think just be sharp on your price, be aggressive, make sure your home shows well, and hire the right real estate agent. And if you are watching this video and you could use some help buying, selling, or even relocating to Calgary, I would love to be a resource and to help you out. You can give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. And I've also got some free resources for you in the pinned comment, a buyer's guide, seller's guide, and a relocation guide, all free for download. And I will see you on the next video.